Under the guise of tackling discrimination, the government is moving forward with a plan that critics warn could become a Trojan horse for silencing free speech. Behind closed doors, ministers are crafting policies that may shield one religion from scrutiny while eroding the fundamental right to express dissent. In today's video, we'll unpack Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner's latest initiative, a proposed council on Islamophobia, while also diving into some of the biggest headlines making waves across the country. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner is set to establish a council on Islamophobia, aimed at developing an official definition of the term and advising ministers on how best to tackle anti-Muslim discrimination. While the initiative is intended to shape government policy on addressing Islamophobia in the UK, it has already sparked controversy over its potential implications for free speech. According to a report in The Telegraph, the 16-member council will operate within Rayner's Ministry of Housing, Communities, and Local Government, MHCLG. Former Conservative Attorney General Dominic Grieve has been recommended to chair the body, given his prior work in combating anti-Muslim hate. Grieve, who has been a prominent figure in discussions on Islamophobia, previously chaired the Citizens UK Commission on Islam, a group dedicated to fostering dialogue between Muslim and non-Muslim communities. He also wrote the foreword to a 2018 All-Party Parliamentary Group, APPG, report that defined Islamophobia as a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. This definition was later adopted by the Labour Party. However, the definition remains highly contentious. Critics argue that it is overly broad and risks curbing free speech, effectively functioning as a blasphemy law that shields Islam from legitimate critique. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick has been particularly vocal in his opposition, urging the government to abandon what he described as a deeply flawed definition. Of course, we should tackle anti-Muslim hate wherever it occurs, Jenrick said. But this definition is a Trojan horse for a blasphemy law protecting Islam. Why do Labour MPs think it is acceptable to mock Christianity, but not Islam? Time and again, this Labour government displays an Orwellian disregard for freedom of speech. Despite these concerns, Grieve has expressed support for the APPG report, stating in his foreword that it makes an important contribution to the debate as to how Islamophobia can best be addressed. When asked about his potential role on Rayner's council, Grieve said he had not yet received a formal approach but did not rule out taking part. If I can be of assistance in doing something constructive requested by any government on a non-party political basis, I am willing to consider it, he said. It depends on what it is and whether I can add value and help the wider public service. Alongside the Islamophobia Council, Rayner is reportedly considering the creation of a separate advisory body on anti-Semitism. However, this has raised concerns within the Jewish community, with some questioning whether another such body is necessary. Paul Stott, co-author of a recent policy exchange report on extremism, warned that the government appears to be giving off worrying vibes about its willingness to impose restrictions on blasphemy and adopt a definition of Islamophobia that could stifle free speech. If so, that is terrible news for freedom of speech, he added. An MHCLG spokesperson reaffirmed the government's commitment to tackling all forms of hate, stating, "All forms of religious and racial hatred have absolutely no place in our society." The government engages regularly with faith communities to help foster strong working relationships, and we are actively exploring a more integrated and cohesive approach to tackling racial and religious hatred, including Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. As the debate over the proposed council unfolds, questions remain about how it will navigate the balance between combating discrimination and protecting free expression, an issue that continues to divide opinion across the political spectrum. In other news, Reform UK is emerging as a serious political force, with recent polling suggesting Nigel Farage could become Prime Minister if the party's surge continues. Far-left activists have admitted as much in an email to supporters, following a landmark YouGov poll that saw Reform UK take second place. Campaign group Hope Not Hate has warned that Farage's party is positioning itself as a serious political force. The group conducted its own MRP polling, which translates nationwide voting intention into an estimate of seat counts per party. It found that Reform UK could be just 3% away from placing 169 MPs in Parliament. When I got the results back from our latest polling, I'll be honest, I felt a real sense of alarm. The group's message reads, "We knew that Reform UK was gaining ground, but we didn't realize just how far they'd come. This is no longer a protest vote or a passing trend. Reform UK is positioning itself as a serious political force. We cannot afford to underestimate this threat." The email warns that if Reform UK's surge continues, it could end with Nigel Farage in Downing Street, a scenario the group describes as a disaster. Reform UK's chief whip, Lee Anderson, told GB News, "The People's Army is growing as each day passes. Our conferences are sold out within 24 hours, and our membership is approaching 200,000, and we've only just started. Reform UK will rescue this country from the Labour and Conservative parties and give the people a real voice in Parliament. We will take our country back." Lastly, Princess Kate has shared a new photo taken by Prince Louis earlier this year in the Windsor grounds to mark World Cancer Day. The photo depicts Kate in a woodland setting, a theme that body language expert Judy James suggests is where the royal draws her strength from. The Princess of Wales has repeatedly emphasized that spending time in nature during her own cancer journey has been extremely important for her physical and mental health, James said. She seems to imply this is where she draws her strength from, and she shares this trait with King Charles. This photo looks very much like an "I'm back" statement, a start of a return. What do you think about today's stories? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't already, make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British news and updates. Thanks for watching, and take care.